Hello, I hope you are doing great. Today we are going to talk about a small quick tip using Blazor. Now, before we continue, please remember to visit fairplaytube.bdicostarica.com where we are actually hosting a lot of our videos. Click the Buy Me a Coffee icon and support. This will allow us to keep the videos and products free for you. Also, it will give you access to exclusive posts and source code that is only going to be published in the Buy Me a Coffee website. So let's continue. A small quick tip we want to give you is something they knew or something they added recently in .NET 6. One of the things that you can do in .NET 6 is using isolated JavaScript that as part of the component itself. In the past, in .NET 5, you had to have your scripts in the www root in some folders or whatever you wanted in that, and then reference to that specific place. However, now you can have your components having your scripts as part of it, so you can see they are isolated and they are actually in the hierarchy of the components. So if you want something like a dialog or whatever you want, right, you create a component, you create the isolated JavaScript, and if you want, you also create the isolated CSS. The only thing that you need to do is name the files exactly the same, adding the extension JS for JavaScript and CSS for cascading styles or style sheet files. Okay, now this is just a simple example, and the only thing that it does is shows a message, right, and invokes a JavaScript alert, right? How do you use it? You basically have to go, okay, you create a Razor class library, right? Then you create the files, then you reference the library or the project from your website or your Blazor application. And then when you want to use it, the only thing that you need to do is, of course, use or inject the IJS runtime, set the script full name or the full path, right? It's going to locate it. In the case of class libraries, it is going to locate it under the content folder, your project name, in this case, the assembly name, your component um, name .razor.js. Then you import your model, right? Import that model, and then this model will give you access to the exported functions that you have in there. Remember that when you are using isolated JavaScript, you need to mark your functions with export, and then it will show your it will show the message. So let's run this small example and you can see how it works. Okay, this is a test message showing alert, and you see that it actually shows in there. So this is a quick small tip for you developing Blazor, and the cool thing that this allow you is that since now you can isolate everything as part of your component, you can create a truly independent component, a component that has its own behavior, its own styles, and its own JavaScript functions in case it requires them, so that effectively can make your component totally independent from other things in your library or component, and you can easily export it anywhere. Remember that one of the coolest features in Blazor, one of the most useful features in Blazor, is that it allows you or it is component based, right? So everything you create, all of your pages and all of your components are actually components, right? um, and are meant, or one of the purposes is so you can reuse a lot of your code. So you can create a totally independent component, use it in one of your applications, and then you do not need to write it again. You just can copy it in another project, and if you set it to be totally independent, the only things that you need to do is basically the consumer calls to invoke the scripts or the methods in that component, right? But you don't need to engage a lot of things like styles or additional JavaScript, because if you did everything in your component, you have everything in there. So this is really, really cool. Remember, visit fairplaytube.bticostarica.com, click the Buy Me a Coffee icon, select a donation of your preference, and this will allow us to keep the videos and products free for you. And additionally, supporters will gain access to exclusive posts and source code only available for Buy Me a Coffee members and supporters. Have a great day.